Good morning. Today is January 28th, 2025, and I want to share a profound verse from the Bible that really stood out to me today and that I challenge anyone watching this to implement. It's a proverb in chapters 2 and 3, and it's about the concept of God's longing and ability to give you wisdom at any moment. So Proverbs 2:4 says this: if you seek it, wisdom, like silver, and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. So first, what's the difference between wisdom and knowledge? Knowledge is simply information, right? You know something. Wisdom is the application of knowledge, actually putting it to practice. So I can know everything about, God. I can study all the theology. I can know the ins and outs and the history. But if I don't apply anything to this in my life, then I don't have wisdom, right? And then here's in the next chapter, chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. I really broke down this verse. This is quite a popular verse because it highlights God's sovereignty and power over understanding any given situation and how to solve it over you. Many times, especially as an entrepreneur, your main job is to solve problems, right? As an entrepreneur in any business. And many times we can get caught up in really leaning into ourselves and trying to solve this problem, right? We focus on the bottlenecks, we look at metrics, we're really, really trying our best to solve a problem. However, in this life and in what the Bible teaches, if you don't acknowledge God in this, you're leaning in your own understanding without tapping into the wisdom and understanding that God can give you at any moment. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever walked into a room and someone ignored you? Like normally when you walk into any room, right, you at least, especially if it's a social gathering or something, you at least get a greeting, hey, good morning. The word acknowledge simply means to make known in the midst of, right? To acknowledge someone entering a room is to greet them and say hello, right, in the midst of the room. This is exactly what happens if you walk into a room and nobody acknowledges you. This is how God feels when you don't acknowledge him in any situation that you're facing in life, right? He's like crossing his arms and waiting here, he's whistling, he's like, I'm standing right here, but you're focused so heavily on solving your own problems your own way, leaning in your own understanding, where you're not leaning on the wisdom of God. And the promise that proverb made in chapter 3, verse 5 is, he will make straight your paths, right? God is the one that will guide you into true understanding and actually help you solve the problem. And I think the first step that I need to do in all of this, that was profound and very, very, it's a lot of knowledge that I just said in the last 4.5 minutes. But how do I apply this, right? I think the first step I can do today is just find ways to acknowledge God in every single thing that I do. It could be as simple as proclaiming, like, I'm in the midst of doing something and I don't know what to do. I'm like, God, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge your power, your sovereignty, your source of knowledge. He's literally the source of everything. I acknowledge you in this situation, and I ask for wisdom. There's also a verse in James that says God gives wisdom freely and without reproach. And ask and you shall find, or seek and you shall find. Ask and it will be given to you. Knock and the door will be opened to you. God makes these promises that if you just simply acknowledge him, he's waiting to give you that information. God is more eager to give you wisdom than you are willing to ask for it, right? He actually wants you to lean into your understanding because that pleases him. So I also challenge you today. I'm gonna do this today, but I also challenge you, whoever might be watching this. Just cut out, I had an alarm go off. I challenge whoever is watching this video to just take one step in the midst of solving any problem of your life, whether that be in work, whether that be, in the gym, whether that be through relationships. Just surrender. Put your hands up and say, God, I acknowledge you. I invite you to come into this situation and give me wisdom. Simply that. And don't lean into your understanding, and see what God will do. All right. That's my main message for today. Elijah Kim, January 28th, 2025. 18 years old. Peace. God bless.